Hi everyone, it's Mariana. Long time no see. I just wanted to get on here and give my testimony, my journey over the last 10 years of my life. If you're open to hearing it, you're more than welcome to stay. If you're not into any of this, I ask you to respectfully leave. Um, and maybe one day you'll return. So, yeah, stick around or not. It's up to you. I'm going to be walking through a few things: being raised Catholic, relationships, my old friends, being sick, and a few other things: career, marriage, stuff like that. But let's start off at the beginning. I was raised Catholic. I went to CCD every Tuesday after school, and I have almost all of my sacraments. I was baptized, penance, confirmation, communion, all that good stuff. And I will be receiving marriage. And so my family used to be CEOs, Christmas and Easter only people. But they weren't really like devoted Catholics. My grandparents were really religious, but my parents just, we didn't go to church every Sunday. It was kind of just like Easter and Christmas. Um, However, I started getting back into religion after my dog and my grandma died about 2 years ago. I felt like a pulling to it. However, I was in college and just wasn't something I was focused on, so didn't really last that long. However, I felt a calling back again, another pull, and this time I became more devoted, and I pray every day to be a more devoted Catholic. So this is my story to like understand like why I am where I am today and like why I believe in what I believe. And the journey I was on, like just some ups and downs in my life and the miracles and the season God will put you through to get you where you are today. So first off, I want to talk about being sick. I got really sick at the age of 13. I had chronic pancreatitis. I was in the hospital for a week, which led to exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which led to celiac, which led to oral fruit allergies, which led to IBS. Um, this is really hard to understand as a 13-year-old, like why me? Kind of festers. Um, Even like back like last year, I'd be like, why can't I just eat pizza? Even going back to like July, this is so unfair. Like living in such like a mindset of like this is unfair. Like why me? Why this? Um, and then when I started turning towards God, it really puts into perspective that yeah, maybe my stomach doesn't work. Like maybe I'm allergic to like a bunch of different foods, but I could still walk. I could still stretch. I could still work out and I have other body parts that work that I should be more grateful for. And I never thought of it like that. It was just always kind of like pity, victim, complex mind. And then when I turned towards God, it was more being grateful for what I have. Because there are some people who can't walk, but I could still walk. I could go on the treadmill. I could go for a walk around the block. Um, so kind of taking those things for granted until I turned towards God and was like really more appreciative of what I have in my life and also becoming more disciplined with what I eat. I don't really eat processed foods anymore. I really actually have no desire to, anyways. And also, I don't drink, I don't smoke. Um, really just taking better care of my body for God, for myself, and being disciplined with what I eat and getting that energy back and being really grateful for that because over the last 10 years, my health was in shambles. And ever since I turned towards God, my health has been like so much better. Whether it's through being the discipline, praying to Him, and just being more grateful, it was like a huge night and day difference. Following that, around the time I did get sick, a few months after, I did lose my best friends, which was really hard for me to cope with, even up till I would say about last year was really hard to cope with. So, like a 10-year period of being in a stage of grief, anger, bitterness, again, that victim complex of why me? Like, why did this happen to me? This is no fair. And social media makes it hard. You see photos, you hear things from people, you see people out in public, not even on social media. And it's like really hard to think these people were supposed to be in my life today. Like, it's hard. It's hard seeing pictures of people in college, graduating, even graduating high school and not being a part of that when you thought your whole life you would be. I never got closure on this, let me just be clear. So that also fed into it, not knowing what went wrong. And also, you kind of make your own assumptions, right? You kind of jump to like the gun of like, did they think of me in a certain way? Did something happen? Did someone talk about me behind my back? Like, really, for me, no closure, don't even know what happened. It was like you were exiled and like you're kind of just on the deserted island by yourself. You get into your head a little bit. Like the devil seeps in when you're on that deserted island because now it's like, well, what if you weren't good enough? What if someone did talk about you and like, now you have this like false reputation of yourself? Or, you just weren't a good person. And then you try so hard to beat that narrative and like prove these people wrong and like, but it's hard. And we see that in Mark 6, which is become one of my favorite verses in the Bible. A prophet is honored everywhere except in his own hometown and among his relatives in his own family. This essentially means familiarity breeds contempt. And because of people's pride and assumptions, like they couldn't see like the true miracles that Jesus was working and like casting on people and what he was giving to people. And where I want to go into this is kind of like what people still think of me now. When I was first getting into religion, I was like, people are going to think I'm like a Bible banger. It's like a spiritual psychosis. And I bet people do think that. But people don't care when you're living in sin. They don't care. You could be drinking, you could be doing drugs, you could be hooking around with people. No one blinks. No one blinks. The second you turn to God and you say, thank you, God, and you read the Bible and you preach this, it's, oh, they're a Bible banger. They're going through spiritual psychosis. And so that made me nervous to start preaching and like spreading the gospel because I still was stuck in the mindset of, is this going to perpetuate like this perception about me of what like maybe people have because I lost my best friends? Like you kind of spin in a hamster wheel, but God has shown me that He's taken people out of my life for a reason. He put me through that for a reason. And obviously, I'm here on camera trying to pray to God every day to give me the strength to continue doing what I'm doing and not letting other people's opinions, the devil, get into my head because they're going to have their assumptions, they're going to have their pride. But this brings me so much fulfillment. And I always tell my fiance, I would go through getting sick, losing my friends, being in a toxic relationship all over again if I knew it was going to lead me to this moment. And if you told me that a year ago, I'd be like, you're lying. You are lying. Like, I'm doomed. I have no friends. People like probably think I'm this like horrible person, even though like it's at that point 9 years later and like I am not the same person at all. And like definitely even from a year ago to now, definitely a big difference in being like the person I am. So that has really helped me grow and trust God because He's going to take people out of your life for a reason. If, He thinks, He hears what people say about you. And I don't just mean like my own friends, I just mean in general. Like, He hears what people say about you and He knows when to remove people from your life. And sometimes you don't think of it in the moment. You're just like in that self-pity of like, why me? Like, this hurts. This stinks. It's so unfair. But then God shows you why He had to do that. And you're like, yeah, I'm happy you did. Thank you. Thank you. You had my back. And so that's trusting in God. That's trusting in His path for you. And like, it's going to hurt to remove people, change careers, have doors closed in your face. But that's just God showing you that He has a bigger and better plan for you. So, next, I want to talk about mental health as a whole. My whole life, I thought I was doomed. My anxiety, ever since I was a child, was so bad. And I also think that's like a narrative as well, like being told your anxiety is so bad from a young age, you start to attach it to your identity. If I don't have my anxiety or my depression or my OCD, like then what am I? However, in God's eyes, you're none of that. Like you are His child and He loves you. And my fiance, it was him, and I also think it was God speaking through him, saying, Mariana, you're not doomed. Like you're not sad. You're a happy person. Like I know that, and that has helped me a lot. I used to have anxiety like almost every single day, like downward spirals of I can't get out of my own head. Um, Not wanting to go places out of fear and just getting sucked into that vortex. However, ever since I've turned towards God, my brain is at so much peace. I surrender my mind every day to God and say, please, God, get into my head before the devil or other people or bad spirited things get into my head. And Obviously, once in a while you still do, but I feel like for me it's a night and day difference. Even my fiance could see that, and he could just see like the big difference of before and after becoming a devoted Catholic. Next, I want to talk about marriage and engagement. As you know, I am engaged. I actually got engaged on Christmas Eve, um, so that's really exciting. And so for me, when I was in old relationships, I always felt like I had to take on a more masculine role, and I'm naturally a more feminine woman. My goal in life, going back to anxiety and depression, the reason I kept going was because I know my calling in life was to be a mother, to be a mom, to be a devoted wife, and that's why I feel like a lot of my career paths never panned out, and I changed my mind so much because I know my calling in life is to be a mom and a wife, and that's the best ministry I think God could give someone, is to be a mother and a wife. And so when I met my fiance, he also knew he wanted to be a dad and a husband at a younger age. And I was like, wow, finally someone who has the same values as me. So meeting someone and actually discussing that early on is very important, or you might spend a few years with someone who wants to wait till they're 30 and doesn't really care about having a wife who's a stay-at-home mom or a traditional wife. And so now you're miserable because you don't want to wait till you're 30. Like your calling in life is to be a young mom and a young wife. And so I think that's really important to talk about in the early stages of a relationship. You don't want to sacrifice God's ministry and his calling that he gives you to satisfy someone else who doesn't have like that calling from God. And so I'm really excited for this journey um, of being a wife, and me and my fiance have like the perfect balance. I get to like I feel safe. I get to be feminine. I feel like I get to truly be myself, and he's the leader and the provider and the protector, and I trust his decision making. Like I hate making decisions, ask anyone. I hate it, and I feel so much weight off my shoulder because I know he's going to do what's best for us as a whole in a unity, and he knows what's best for me, and it's like the perfect balance. And lastly, why I'm here. I was really nervous to start posting about my beliefs. I lost so many followers on Instagram. I've been blocked by so many people. And like God says in John 16, since they persecuted me, naturally they will prosecute you. People in today's society makes me sad. I don't hate anyone. I have no hate in my heart. I feel so much sadness. Um, because I see how hardened people's hearts are, and I'm trying to let go of that control. Like in Mark 6, it talks about how if you're not welcome and you're rejected, to just shake the dust off your feet and continue. God will work on softening their hearts. And it's hard, it's sad. I voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the last two presidential elections. I would in the past consider myself a moderate, but I did lean right. And ever since September 10th, I just became conservative. Like I'm changing my political party to Republican. But that's because the reaction to Charlie Kirk's assassination had me sick. For about 2 weeks, I was in disbelief of how can people celebrate this? How, and like now it's like, how can people reject God so much? Like when I'm preaching this, I come from a place like I want to help you. Like I was in your boat. I was in your boat. I had like 10 years of like the roughest like downhill snowballing of my life. Like it was just battle after battle after battle. And I thought I was doomed. I thought my fate was sealed. I thought I couldn't, like nothing would change. I thought I was stuck. I turned to God and it's like, whoa. It's like a wake up call. It's like you feel so much relief off your shoulder and like you feel like it's so different. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It makes me sad 'cause I'm like, you could achieve it too. Like I want to help you. Like I want to be there for you. I want to help you turn to him and trust him, and like sacrificing that control is hard. People like want to have control over their life, and when you sacrifice it to God, it's like it's out of your hands, but there's so much relief as well that comes with that sacrifice. And it just makes me sad like how hardened people's hearts are, and like I weep for these people, I pray for these people. But that's why I'm here, because as a child of God, you're supposed to go around and speak about the gospel and talk about it. And, you know, if you enjoy this, I hope I could help you. And you could always reach out to me. Um, but if you don't and you reject it so highly, I do pray for you. And I pray that God will soften your heart. And one day, maybe in a year, 5 years, even 10 years, you come back and you're like, that helped me. Like, I'm now a follower of God and I trust him. And I just hope that for people. I hope that in today's society, um, that's where we could get to. And I thank God for everything in my life. I thank God for like where I am now. I trust him and his plan and I just follow him and I hope other people could get there as well.